Well, as you can see, this old girl's headed in a different direction. I started it yesterday and I did a lot of jigging here because I didn't have much room. But I got it in here. We're gonna jack it up, set it on the jack stands, drain the transmission, and pull the wheels off, pull the drive rims off the inside, and want to work on getting these axles out. But once I get this tire off over here so that I can have a little bit more room to work, I'm going to pull this brake off and we're going to pull this first reduction. That's the main thing I want to get into today. Well, actually, I may not pull the first reduction. I may just take that cover off. We'll see. I guess I'll do that. I'll get the tire off so I got some room to work. And we'll check that bearing right there. If that bearing's good, we ain't gonna go any further. If it needs to have a little bit of love, we will pull this first reduction off. It's not a big deal either way. It's kind of nice to take stuff apart and then you see what ails it. The clutch has probably takes 3 or 4 pounds of pressure to pull it in. And it's just not set up right, so it needs to come apart. This tractor is kind of an anomaly. I can't really figure out. Some stuff's wore right out and other stuff ain't wore out hardly at all. But anyway, I don't really know as it's got that much time on it, but I don't think that it's had any maintenance done to it. I think that's where the problem is. I mean, you look at these, them look like they're brand new. I don't understand it, you know? They don't look like they've ever been used. So, a lot of stuff like that on here. These here, they look like they're brand new. I mean, those haven't been worn at all, neither side. So, there's all this stuff. Brakes haven't been used much. This side over here has got a little bit more wear. But that's because that's the one everybody leans over and uses usually. Especially, I don't know why, I always bend over that direction. But yeah, so let's get into it a little bit, shall we? Just getting ready to pull this hub band off, or lock, whatever you want to call it. Suppose that is a stack of shims. Looks to me like a bearing shim. I don't know if that's what it is, but it's metallic, I would say. Been there a lot of years. So, we'll find out once we get in there. Huh, must have a burr on it. Oh, there we go. And that definitely got hit by something. Come on. Put oil. I did run a tap through these off camera. So these are from the other side. I already have them cleaned up. See what we can do. These will move with the breaker bar. So, and I can see the paint moving, so there we go. Once she starts, she'll come. I don't have a very big line This is like one of them little carpentry lines there. Don't put much air to stuff. There we go. There. Actually, let me spin them back out of there. Let's see what they had in here for shims. Yeah, they had copper shim stock. And it was just around the outer edge. I don't know if you can see, they had one there and there. Had a couple on each side. Apparently they was having trouble with this thing staying tight. A bearing shot. I don't know if the outer race is loose in the housing. I really can't tell. I'm going to go get my flashlight. I'll let you know what I find out. Don't know if you can see that without a light, but I only got two hands. But the outer race is moving in this housing. So this is either going to require being bored, oversized and sleeved, or buy a bigger bearing and bore it to fit the bearing. Not sure which way I'm going to go, but yeah, all needs to come apart. So this is one of those things almost every John Deere out there that hasn't been, fully restored. Usually that first reduction bearing on the outboard side almost always is smoked. I believe they're shielded from the oil on the inside, and John Deere, if you look in the service manual of what you were supposed to, this is kind of one of these things where they were thinking way ahead way back then. They recommended once a year you send it in to the dealership, and they were going to remove the clutch, fix everything and pack the bearing that's on the clutch. They would take the fan shaft off, renew the clutch facings, and do what work needed to be done on the fan shaft. And this right here was another grease point that they would take apart once a year and pack with grease. Pretty sure that has to be packed with grease. I don't actually have a manual that is from John Deere. I've got that big manual over there that's a John Deere original, but for some reason the transmission section I forgot to copy, I guess. This 35 section I do not have, and I wished I did. I might have to get a hold of my friend there and see if I can't get that last little bit. If it's in his master book. Maybe his master book was missing number 35. I'm not sure. You never know with stuff like that. I thought I copied the whole book. But anyway, yeah, got to take the clutch off. I'm going to pull a pin here, pull this cotter pin here. We'll whip that off. Take this cover off with a screwdriver and a hammer, and we'll start working back in through. Try not to drop stuff, and you do it anyway. You know, somebody's been in here not too awful long ago. So, kind of a funky way to bend cotter pins over. I would much rather go through with the right size, these are too small, and bend one leg over down and cut this one off if it's in your way. But anyway, I don't see any signs of this being loose, which is a relief because I hadn't checked it. And if that would have been bad, that would have meant that the crankshaft was bad, and that would have meant that this engine would have had to come apart again. That's something I took a gamble on. And it's kind of sketchy because I found several of these loose over the years. So anyway, I'm going to take that nut off, take these cotter pins all out. We'll pull this apart one section at a time, and I'm going to pull them 4 bolts off at the same time. And yeah, can't take this off unless you pull this clutch drive. So I'll show you how we do that in a minute. The rest of it's all self-explanatory. Take the 3 nuts off, take this nut off, take these bolts off, get everything ready. I've already taken this pin off up here, and I've taken the brake off. So just 3 bolts. Everything's pretty self-explanatory. Well, I got this nut off. This nut was not tight. Good thing that we did take this apart and check it. It does seem to be tight on the splines, so we're good there. This almost looks like a brand new drive. I don't know if it is or not, but like I say, you can't, this thing's kind of funny. Whoop. You know, that's brand new brake disc or clutch disc. So I don't know. Better not lose that washer. I'll be looking for it. But anyway, yeah, I gotta go get a few bolts and we'll pull this off. Well, I haven't loosened it at all, so let's see how tight it was actually. Maybe it was tighter than I thought. Oh, that one there slipped out. Whoop. There we go. Maybe. Yeah, it wasn't very tight. Not as tight as it should have been. Just a 4-inch bolt spacing. Let's see how bad stuff looks. Yeah. Yeah, they had this on right as far as timing. Good. I got something right. That is a new disc. You can see they haven't even shined it, made it flat yet. That's one thing I won't have to buy probably. Man, is that nasty looking, huh? I guess it's just fresh grease over rust. They hadn't sanded it and got it really clean. Yeah, the outer bushing there that's hardened looks fine. Somebody did pack the grease in it not too long ago. And yeah, that was down there between the clutch. I want to show you how long these damn cotter pins are. Whoever did this just really didn't have it together. Ugh. I mean, look at these great big long cotter pins in there, just looking to get hung up on something. You know, the whole thing was like that. You know, whoever did this really didn't understand, or they just didn't care. I don't know which it was, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be good. You know, I think the bearing in here, that Hyatt bearing is good. The bushing don't seem to be too bad. So the only problem we've really got in this first reduction, I believe, is right here. So anyway, no big job getting that stuff off. We're going to call it a end right here. It's 10 o'clock. We're going to go put firewood in. It went down to 3 degrees last night, and that's Fahrenheit, of course. And we're going to go see if the tractor will start. It's been plugged in for 2 hours, so it will. I mean, there's no problem there. So I'm not going to take you along, but we're going to do some firewood, and later this afternoon I'll bring you back. We'll finish getting this here off. So I didn't film it, but I've got all the bolts out. Took this nut and the washer off, and I've just pried it off the dowel pins. There's one right here, and there's one right over here. And once you get it off those dowel pins, it'll pick right off. And then we can really get to see what it looks like in behind there. It really doesn't look too bad. You can tell that the same guy that had been working on the clutch hadn't been working on the mains over here. Cotter pins are all put in nice and neat. And yeah, let's see how bad. No, it's still tight on the shaft. Yeah, I'm gonna call it a win. There's no wear on this end. So basically, I got to take a snap ring out of this cover and pop this bearing out. And you can see all the spooge. That's one of the reasons I like to drill a hole right here and put a pipe plug. And then every time you change the oil, put a quart of oil in here. You know, it don't hurt a thing. So anyway, I got to pop that snap ring out right there. And we will take a look at that bearing. This here, where it's all shined up, is where them cotter pins was riding across here. And you can see some marks here a little bit where they went around. So, can't have them long cotter pins in there on that clutch pulley. Anyway, I'm going to take this safety wire off, pull this shield off, and then I can get this bolt out that I want to wire wheel on the back side. And I'm going to pull the pin here. I got a cotter pin I got to dig out. I'm going to leave the arm on, but I'm going to take that off just because it's a pain. And then we'll get this cleaned up. I got lucky, and I mean I got lucky. I found a brand new bearing the same size, except that one there is shielded. And just been kicking around, but it's brand new. So I think I'm going to dig the shield out on this side out here, and I'm going to put a grease fitting in the end of this with a shield around it and make it so that you can grease it once every so often. You know, once a year, give it 4 or 5 shots of grease. And I believe it will last better than having that crap from in that first reduction lubing it. That's just my thoughts. I don't know. Sometimes I don't think that John Deere really put a lot of thought into that bearing. I believe originally it was shielded, but I'm not positive of that either. That's probably not the original bearing. This here is probably one that somebody put in there. And it may have been shielded originally anyway. I don't know. But she's pretty well toast anyway. She's junk. So I got about 5 thousandths clearance between the outside of the bearing and the outside of the housing. And I'm pretty sure that I can put that red Loctite on it, that anaerobic red Loctite. It's made for what, 1/2 inch fasteners up. Christ, 1.5 inches, 2 inches, whatever. And I've tried to take, you know, inch bolts out before with a 3/4 inch impact, and you can't touch them. You have to use heat. So my theory is, I believe I can put that in there real clean. I'll sand it a little bit, make sure that it's got a little texture to it. And I'm gonna set that into it tonight with a red Loctite, and I will leave it overnight. And in the morning, we're gonna give it a whirl. And I'm pretty sure I got the gasket for this. I believe I got one from John Deere, a factory one. It's either for an A or a B, and I think it's for a B. So I'm gonna go check that. I'll be back in a minute. Look at that, the part number starts with a B. B154R, made in USA. Genuine John Deere, first reduction cover. So anyway, it's brand new. So when I assemble this tomorrow, unless Carol wants to do something, I haven't really checked with her about plans tomorrow. For the rest of today, I'm gonna clean this. I'm gonna scrape this, get this all sanded up and cleaned. Well, I've got that Loctited in. It's, I didn't actually use the right stuff. They make a 660, I believe it is. That'll take care of 20 thousandths. I only got about 5 thousandths clearance. I used the 271. I think it'll still work. Seems to fit pretty good anyway. And I've got the seal out of the other side because I'm going to grease it from the other side. So anyway, that's going to be it for today. Time for a dump run. Always got to go to the dump. So anyway, take care everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.